Hey guys, welcome to the first video of the Dutch Rose crochet along. This is motif 1 and I'm going to be using Shapegus Our Tribe. It's in the color Siamese. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3, and insert the hook in the first chain to make a ring, and then we're going to slip stitch that first chain. And then sometimes whenever you chain 3, it's a little difficult to find the middle, but I always chain 3 because I like it to be really tight in the center. So you just have to kind of know where the center is for that chain 3. Otherwise you certainly can chain 4, whatever feels good for you. All right, and what we're going to do is make a beginning large shell, which consists of a beginning DC, okay, single crochet, chain 1, and a regular DC. I'm going to work over my tail. All right, and now we have like a beginning cluster. All right, and whenever we join in this cluster, we're going to join in the DC, not the beginning DC. Chain 2, another cluster. Essentially, this round is just 6 clusters and 6 chain 2 spaces. All right, so that's my second cluster. Chain 2 again. And I'm just going to work the rest of this round. Cluster, chain 2. All right, I've got 5 clusters so far. Chain 2. Okay. Here's my last cluster. At this point, I'll pull my tail. That way the center closes. I'm not going to be working into the center anymore. And then I'll chain 2. And then what I do is I insert the hook through, you can see here, I'll elongate my loop so I can take out my hook. You can see here that you have, this is the DC that I'm joining into. And you have this loop here, and then you can see peeking through that little back loop. And it's actually part of the next stitch, but the previous stitch, but I'm going to go ahead and work into both of those. Okay. So I've got them both on there, and then I'm going to go ahead and yarn over and make my slip stitch. Okay, and then I don't tighten up on this loop. If I tightened up on it, it wouldn't have the visual effect that I'm going for. I want this loop, this slip stitch, to lay over that DC that I joined into. And so I have my 6 clusters here, or my 2 large shells, and I'm going to go ahead and work into my chain space for round 2. So when you work into your chain space, that's when this slip stitch can elongate over the previous stitch. So when I join, I always work into the next stitch on the next round, and that lets the slip stitch really cover out over the top. You can see the slip stitch is over the top now, so it just looks like part of it. It's not pulled tight. If it was pulled tight, you'd be able to tell. And then this, if this stitch was pulled tight, then this would be like starting way over here. So you want the whole thing to lay loosely over. Okay, so now next round, I'm going to just make a beginning DC. That's single crochet, chain 1, and then 3 more double crochet. I'm still working over my tail. I brought it up. Okay. So now I've got beginning DC and 3 double crochet. And then I'm going to just do 5 double crochet in all the remaining spaces. All right, y'all. So I have my 5 DC all around, and I'm going to make my final double crochet in the beginning. Okay, and then I'm going to also, again, you can see the chain, but I'm also going to take it through this inside loop as well. That loop that's going in, I'm going to also grab that. I'm not just going to work into this outside, or else it's going to stretch and it's going to have a big old hole. So you have to work into this one and this one. Okay. Slip stitch. So remember, don't tighten that slip stitch. All right, and then I planned it so that my next round is going to start in that center stitch. I don't want to start in the same stitch that I've joined in on the previous round, because if I do, it's going to look funky working into that stitch. So I don't choke up on this stitch here, and then I work into the next stitch always, and I'll show you guys in a second how that looks. But I'm just going to make my beginning DC, and I don't chain up. I just go straight into the single crochet, chain one, and you can see when you work into the next stitch, this is your single crochet, this is your chain, and this is your slip stitch from the join. So when you're working all one color and your next round's going to be the same color and you're not going to cut your yarn, I found that's a pretty good way to join. If you're going to cut your yarn, you could do needle join or whatever other join you like, but if you're going to use the same yarn you're not cutting, then this is pretty good. So you can see here, this single crochet looks like this bottom part, the chain looks like this part right here, and then the joining slip stitch looks like the top. So it looks like a full DC, even though it's really single crochet, chain one, and then you're joining slip stitch when you came back around. Okay, so I've got my beginning DC, and then I'm going to chain two, and then DC into that same stitch, and then chain one. Okay, beginning DC, chain two, DC, chain one, and then I'll skip this stitch and work into these two stitches a double crochet. One and two. And then chain. Now I've got skip one, so I'm in my corner. And my corner is DC, chain two, DC. And that's my repeat. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. I've got my beginning corner, which is beginning DC, chain two, DC, chain one, skip one, double crochet twice, chain one, skip one, and then my corner, DC, chain two, DC. So I'm going to continue in that repeat. All right, so now I'm ready to join. I've got a chain on the hook right now, and I'm ready to skip this stitch here and go ahead and join into my beginning DC like before. Grab that inner loop and the outer loop as well. Now see, I have them both on the hook right there. Make my slip stitch. Don't tighten up that chain, so now I've got what looks like a regular stitch right now because I'm going to work into this chain space for my next round. Okay, so there's the first 3 rounds. All right, my large shell, my beginning large shell. So I've got single crochet, chain, and a DC, chain 2, and then a cluster, chain 2, cluster, okay, so that's the first, that's the beginning large shell. Chain 1, do my 2 double crochets into the same double crochets as the previous round, chain 1, and then go straight into this chain 2 space for the corner to make your large shell. Cluster, chain 2, cluster, chain 2, and cluster. All right, and that's my repeat there. So I've got the beginning large shell, chain 1, 2 DC here in the center of the side, and then chain 1 again, and then my large shell here. Now I'm ready to join. I've got a chain 1 on my hook again, and I'm ready to join into my beginning cluster. All right, slip stitch, let it lay over, and then I'm ready to work into this chain 2. So I'm going to work straight into it as a single crochet for 1, 2, 3, 4, round 5. All right, and then I've got my single crochet. I'm about to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Another single crochet in the next chain 2 space. 1, 2, 3 chains. Now I'm going to single crochet in the next space, but then I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more singles in these DCs here, and 1 more in the chain space. Okay, so I've got 4 singles all together. Make my chain 3, single in the chain 2 space, chain 3, okay, and now I'm ready to repeat those 4 singles. All right, so that's how I'm going to work all the way around the hexagon. Okay, so I'm back, and I've got my chain and single round, which is 1, 2, 3 for round 5, and I'm right about to join, so I need to make my final chain 3, and then there's my single that I need to slip stitch into. And since this is a single crochet, I'm just going to work into both loops. Oh, hello. I'm going to work into both loops of that single with my slip stitch. Okay, so now I'm ready to go into, and my cat thinks it's time for petting. Go on, go on. All right. So I'm going to get my small shell going here, my beginning small shell. So I've got a beginning cluster, single crochet, chain 1, and I'll make a DC that's to act as the first cluster. And I'll chain 3, and that's, since this is the corner, you can kind of see that this is the corner here. That's my chain 3. Okay. And my little cluster here to finish this out. All right, so that's my corner right there. Now I'm going to work my large cluster into this chain 3 loop. Cluster, chain 2, cluster, chain 2, and cluster, chain 2 to finish this large shell. All right, so now I've got a beginning small shell here, then a large shell, and now without making any chains or anything, I'm just going to go straight into it, and I'm going to do a large shell, small shell, large shell. Jump right into my corner here, a small shell, and chain 3. Okay, And this round 6 right here that we're doing is going to consist of this repeat of these 3 shells. So I'm just gonna hit pause in a sec and finish out this round 6. And then we're gonna get to round 7 that lots of folks wanted to see a video, and I'll show you guys a couple things when I'm doing round 7. All right, so now I've got a full repeat. So I've got my beginning shell and then my large shell, and then I've got a full repeat here. Large, small, large. So now I'm just gonna go around with all these 3 loops here, large, small, large, all the way around. And just leaving these 4 singles alone for now. Okay, so I'm gonna put the hook back to front and insert the hook through the DC where I joined, back to front, and then I'm gonna grab that hook, grab that loop, and pull it through to the back. Okay, so now my loop is in the back. All right, so you can't tell really that you've pulled your loop to the back, but now I can work on the back of the piece without having to cut my yarn. Okay, so that might help you if you're interested in doing that. And now what you're gonna have to do is, this is the, right here, this is the single that you're gonna start with whenever you work around your single crochet. Okay, the one that's right next to where your loop is coming out of. If you look right here, this is round 5. Right, there's the back of our singles, our chain. This is round 6 with the shells on it. All right, so I've got a single, a chain 3, and 4 singles in a row. This is the round 5 that you're going to work into when you work round 7. Okay. Okay, so just to be clear, we've got round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 6 is our kind of our petal round. Then round 7, after I've pulled this loop to the back, pulling this loop to the back is not in the pattern, but I've done that just now just to show you how you can work this round without cutting your yarn. All right, so I'm gonna work with the wrong side of the motif facing, you can see, and I'm gonna work like a front post stitch, which is what some folks told me that this is. So since I've pulled this loop to the back, I have it like elongated here, and I'm going to make it kind of the height that I need to drop down to get that stitch. And this is all in the name of saving yourself weaving the ends from cutting the yarn. So if you didn't want to cut your yarn, this is what you'll do. You'll elongate that loop down to reach your single. Then you wrap the hook around that single like you're going to work a front post stitch. Now your yarn comes down to your lead yarn. Now you can see on both sides there, I've got that yarn stretching down to that single. Okay, yarn over. Okay, and we're going to end up there at the bottom. All right. And you can't tell because this is going to be on the back side of the work. So I think this is better than weaving 2 extra ends per motif. All right, so now that I've worked that single crochet around the single from round 5, I'm going to chain 3. Okay, my next single is this one. So I'm going to position myself with my hook going around it from the back. And then when you come up, you're going to go between the singles, which is sometimes tricky. So until you figure out where you have to exactly put your hook through, you might want to just check the front and make sure that you're going in between the 2 singles. All right, and someone's mentioned to me it's kind of like a front post stitch. All right, so I've got my 3 chains. work around the stitch, make a single. And 3 chains. And then here's my one single, my next single. I'm going to work in between. Okay, and just stick my hook back up, come up through the chain 3 loop so that I can work around that stitch. You can see my single crochet there. Okay. Chain 3. Now these two are easy because the stitch is isolated. So just go around the back. Single. Chain 3. Next stitch, go around the back. Single, chain 3. And now we're back at a 4 singles again. So I've got to go around the first one. Right there. And the final one. Good. All right. These next two are easy. Okay, here's what we've got forming here is a round of chain loops and singles. All right, so this is our beginning, and you can see the elongated loop. So you won't be able to tell because this is going to be on the back. And that saved us from leaving our ends. In the pattern, I told you to cut the yarn and rejoin it around that stitch. So I just wanted to kind of give you that tip that I knew would be easier to show you in the video for working this without having to cut your yarn. Right? Just bring your loop to the back, elongate it, and then work around. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and actually I think I'll work a little more just because I know you guys wanted to see. You could always rewind, but why not? All right, back to front. Maybe I'll do it differently in a way that sheds more light on it. In between the singles and come back up through this chain loop. Good. Okay. We're almost there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit pause and I'll meet you guys back right before I'm about to join. All right, so I have my final chain 3 and I'm going to ignore my elongated loop that I brought to the back and just go ahead and work into, this is like my single that I made. That's what I'm going to be working into when oops, there we go, work into my single there. You can see slip stitch. Okay, and now I'm ready to go. All right, and when I flip to the front, because I'm going to work round 8, you can see that I've worked the singles. You can see where I've worked the singles in the back because it has these horizontal bars. So that's from working the single around the stitch. All right, and that's just to make the base for the background of the ruffle. And so the remainder of the hexagon is going to come shooting off from this chain stitch base here. So it's gonna be, you know, behind this flower, and we'll anchor this in a second in a couple of rounds. But just to tell you kind of why we're doing this is that this ruffle is going to be on the front, and now we're going to start working the background, the background hexagon part. All right, so this is round 8. I've turned it back to right side facing, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my working loop, and incidentally I'm in a corner. The first chain 3 loop that I work into is right at a chain 3 corner from our petal. So these chain 3 loops from round 6 is where your hexagon corners are going to line up. All right. So your hexagon corner is not going to line up with the center. It's going to line up right here with these chain 3 loops. Okay, so when I work to round 7, I ended up, that's my slip stitch. Turned it to the right side now. So this is my first chain 3 loop that I'm going to work into. Okay, I'm going to kind of fold this down. This round 6, I'm kind of pinch it down so I can work into these chains without having it be obscured there. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and start with my beginning DC. Okay, and when I come back around to finish this round, I'm going to work a DC right here. So I don't want to have this too far close to the end there. I want to have it more closer to the center. And it won't matter because you're going to work over it. It's going to be behind the petal anyway. So just make your beginning DC, chain 2, and then 2 doubles into this first beginning corner here for round 8. Okay, so now I've got beginning DC, chain 2, 2 DCs, and here I have 1, 2, 3 chain loops before my next corner. This is my next corner, you can tell because it's lined up right with a chain 3 from round 6. So there's my next corner. I've got 3 chain loops to work into. So I'm going to work 3 doubles into each of those 3. One, 2, 3. Good. Next chain space. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so far I've got my 2 for the corner, my 2 doubles for the corner, and then 3 groups of 3 DC. 3 DC, 3 DC, 3 DC. And now I'm up to my next corner here. My corner is 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet. All right, and that's my repeat. My repeat is 3 DC, 3 DC, 3 DC, 2 DC, chain 2, 2 DC for the corner. And that's what I'm working into with my chain loops from round 7 all the way around. And you can see I'm kind of folding down the petal round 6. I'm kind of folding it down as I go so that these chains from round 7 really pop out at me. And I will be back when I'm just about ready to join for this corner. All right, I made you guys back. Alrighty, so that's the end of round 8, and I've kind of just left this round 6 standing up so you can see how round 8 looks. Okay, from corner to corner, it's 13 stitches, 9, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So between your chain 2 corners, you've got 13 DC, no chains in between. All right, so I'm ready to join round 8 here. I've got 3 DC, and then I'm going to go ahead and make my single DC into the first corner to complete it. So round 8 is joined now, and I'm ready to work into my chain 2 space for round 9. So round 9 threw some folks off, and so I'm going to go ahead and go through it and go through how I anchor down the petal and all that good stuff. So we'll start by making a single. Okay, chain 3, and then a single back in the same corner. So the corner is going to be single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. I'm going to chain 3 again. And then what I do is skip 2 DC and go straight into that third DC for my single crochet. Okay, chain 3. This time I skip 1, go into the next stitch. Okay, and this time when I chain 3, now I'm going into the center DC because I skipped 1, right? Now to make this single crochet, I'm going to push up my petal round here. All right, and just to make this real visible, there's a space in between these 2 large shells from round 6. Okay, so we're going to anchor this petal round flat, or else it's going to fold over like that, and I want it to lay nice and flat. So I've got my chain 3 on the hook now, and I'm ready to make my special single crochet that's going to anchor round 6. So I'm going to insert my hook front to back through that space in between, not through any stitches up here, through the space. All right, space in between. So now I've got my hook through there. Now I'm going to carefully make sure that I'm working into that center DC. Okay, and just work a single crochet like normal. So these rounds kind of pretty much line up. So I'm going to work a single crochet like normal. Goodness. And that will anchor my petal. Okay, so there's my single crochet. It's not elongated or anything. It's just that it's going around the round 6. Okay, so you can see that these 2 are now joined up. Go on, dude. All right, so now I'm gonna chain 3. Okay, if you kind of fold that petal forward, you can see behind my next stitch that I need to work into, skip that one, is this stitch right here. Make my single, chain 3, and skip 1. So my next stitch is this one right here. Okay, and now we're going to skip these 2 double crochet and go straight into the corner. And I'll back up and show you guys in just a second. Chain 3 and single crochet for the corner. Okay. So this is what the side looks like. Corner, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, skip 2, single, chain 3, skip 1, single, chain 3, skip 1, single. When you single for this one, you go into the space and then just make your regular single in that center DC. All right, so nothing different about it, just that it's encasing this petal round. And then chain 3, single, make sure you skip that one there. Chain 3, skip 1, single, chain 3, skip 1, single, chain 3, skip 2. So it looks the same as it does on this side. You always skip those 2 corner DC and go straight for the corner. All right, so that's our repeat, and I'm going to hit pause and keep working around these remaining 5 sides until I'm back at the beginning ready to join. And now I'm ready to join. So I'll skip my 2 like normal and I'll join straight into this first single crochet that we did and slip stitch. All right, now we're ready to work the penultimate round, which is round 10. We're just going to work a beginning DC into our corner chain space there. There's my beginning DC, chain 2, and make 2 doubles into my corner. And then I have 6 chain loops here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 before the anchor and 3 after. And I'm going to make 2 double crochets in each of them. 1, 2. Next chain. 1, 2. Okay. Next chain. Got 3 down so far. Make my next 3. 2, 1. 2. All right, and then so I've got 12 doubles spread across those chain loops there. I've got my first 2 stitches in my corner, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, all the way across, 2 in each of those chain spaces. Now I'm ready to go do a corner again. So I've got 2 DC, chain 2, and 2 DC. Okay, so again, I've got my 6 chain loops coming up, 2 DC in each of them. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, ready for my corner, and I'll back up and show you guys that this is going to be our second repeat done. Okay, here's what we've got going so far. We've got our beginning corner, beginning DC, chain 2, 2 DC, 2 DC in each of the following 6 chain spaces, 2 DC, chain 2, 2 DC, corner. And that's our repeat there. 12 more DC, 2 DC, chain 2, 2 DC, corner. So when you step back, this is the round that really pops out from the round 6 petal round. This is the one that you see. Round 8 is pretty much hidden behind the petals, and round 10 sticks out. So I'm going to keep working the remaining 4 sides, and then whenever I'm right here, I will meet you guys back. Okay, so I'm back to the beginning of the round, and I have my 2 double crochet. I just need to make 1 more stitch and then join. Okay, I need to make 1 double crochet in the first corner to complete it, and then I need to slip stitch into my beginning DC. All right, and now I finished round 10. Okay, so here's what I've got so far. We're gonna work our final round here of just a single crochet round. Okay, so the final round is pretty straightforward. So first we're just gonna work 3 double crochets into the corner. Remember, I don't chain up, so I just work 3 single crochets, I think I said double. So 3 singles, I don't chain up, just go straight into the singles. Okay, and then now that I have my 3 singles in my corner, I'm gonna work a single crochet into all of the following 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 stitches. All right, so 16 singles to my next corner, and that's my repeat. All right, so just working your singles in every stitch here. I think I'm going to go ahead and pause the video because this is just single crochet in every stitch. And don't forget to make your 3 singles in each corner, the chain 2 space right there, 3 single crochets, and work singles in all the remaining stitches. All right, all the way to the beginning. So I'll meet you guys right back here when I'm in the stitch ready to join. Okay, so I'm back to the beginning here, and I just have my next couple of stitches to work before I join. So I'm going to work my single and then my next single. Okay, and then I'm going to locate the first single crochet of the round and slip stitch into it. Okay, and then I'm going to leave a long tail because I'm going to be using it to whip stitch later on. And if you're not doing this, if you're not whip stitching, then obviously you'll do it your way. You can use whatever join you like, as long as it doesn't really add a whole lot of dimension in between the motifs. So I wouldn't do something like, you know, another round of single crochet. If you're going to do a join as you go, you would want to do it on this final round 11. But if you're going to do like a double crochet in between or another single, I wouldn't do that because you're going to add to the space in between the motifs, and you want it to be like as little space as possible. When you whip stitch, it's like pretty much nothing. The motifs are butted up against each other. You could like crochet through the back loops or through the front loops, however you want to do it. Join as you go, however you like. So just for this particular blanket, I chose to do whip stitch because I like the hand stitched feel of it, and I wanted this to be like the ultimate cozy blanket, so every aspect I wanted it to be cozy. So that's why I'm whip stitching these motifs together. So I will cut a long tail to go ahead and whip stitch later on. But this is what my motif looks like, all finished, right from the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so there you go. That's motif 1. I hope this helped. Ask questions in the group, get support, whatever you guys need to make it through these motifs, because I've been really enjoying everybody's progress pics. So keep posting progress pics, and I'll see you guys in the group. All right, y'all have a good rest of the day.